From ABC News, World News Saturday, here's Barry Serafin.
Good evening. The fight against South Africa's apartheid policy took center stage, literally, today in London. Entertainers from around the world gathered for a giant rock concert honoring Nelson Mandela, seen by many as a symbol of the anti-apartheid movement. Mandela has been imprisoned in South Africa for nearly a quarter of a century. The concert was billed as a freedom fest. Jim Hickey was there.
68 artists entertaining for 10 hours in front of more than 70,000 people packed into London's Wembley Stadium.
Free, free, set them free.
An estimated 1 billion more watching on television as the concert is broadcast to 50 countries around the world. The biggest spectacular since Live Aid, it is a massive birthday party for 70-year-old Nelson Mandela, jailed leader of the African National Congress. The performers volunteered their time and talents in what is seen as an upsurge in the European anti-apartheid movement.
They say we're young and we don't know, won't find out until we grow.
All of us feel the outrage of the situation in South Africa. The only way we can express it is to come together at an incredibly publicized event like this and say so.
The fact of the matter is that apartheid is wrong.
The question of anyone is a question of everyone.
And what it's already doing right now, this minute, is raising the consciousness. People who don't know about Mandela, who don't really know that much about the apartheid system, are going to be educated.
In South Africa, Mandela's wife, Winnie, said he is aware of the concert and excited about it. So is she.
That the whole world has come together to regard this event as an international issue is of great political significance to our struggle.
The concert, denounced by the South African government, is raising money for anti-apartheid groups and for children's projects in southern Africa. Anti-apartheid activists deny South African allegations the money will go to the African National Congress. Anyway, they say, this kind of outpouring for racial justice is something money can't buy.
We just call to say we love you.
Jim Hickey, ABC News, London.
Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the leader of South Africa's 6 million Zulus, today called for Mandela's unconditional release. Black South Africa, he declared, will not rest until Mandela is free. Here at home, an historic confrontation over racial segregation in this country is being remembered at the University of Alabama by those who were there in 1963 and those who have followed. Mark Potter reports.
For the students today at the University of Alabama, the civil rights struggle is now a collection of faded images and echoes from history class.
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
But for those who were there 25 years ago, Governor Wallace's inaugural pledge and his stand 6 months later in the university's schoolhouse door were momentous events.
The unwelcomed, unwanted, unwarranted, and force-induced intrusion upon the campus of the University of Alabama.
Defying a court order that the university be desegregated, Wallace tried, at least symbolically, to block the enrollment of students James Hood and Vivian Malone.
I felt that I had a right to be here. You know, I mean, I've been a resident. I was born and raised in the state of Alabama, and there was no reason why I shouldn't have been here.
Deputy Attorney General Nicholas Katzenbach was sent by President Kennedy to face off the governor.
Governor, I'm not interested in a show. I don't know what the purpose of the show is.
I was determined that the two young people would not, once on the campus, they would not leave it.
After Kennedy federalized the Alabama National Guard, Wallace stepped down. There was no violence, but the students enrolled under heavy guard.
It's significant because you have a vivid confrontation between federal and state authority on a great moral issue.
We are confronted primarily with a moral issue.
That night, President Kennedy gave a major address on civil rights, but it was undercut several hours later by the murder of civil rights leader Medgar Evers in Mississippi.
The Evers killing was a harsh reminder that while the event here at the University of Alabama was a milestone in the civil rights movement, it was only a beginning.
The door has been opened, and it's gradually opening, but it has not opened all the way.
This week, the university, which is now 10% black, is hosting a national conference to discuss shortcomings in race relations and to mark the events of 25 years ago.
I think it serves and ought to serve as a beacon for the rest of the world that change can occur. We should remember the pain and we should remember the suffering, but we should remember equally the success.
Mark Potter, ABC News, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
The first black to graduate from the University of Georgia 25 years ago, Charlene Hunter Galt, today became the first black invited to deliver the school's commencement address. Galt, now a correspondent for public broadcasting, told today's graduates they are part of history too. The central question still, she said, is living up to principles of human decency.
World News Saturday, brought to you by Nabisco Shredded Wheat.
Old GOP foes are acting like old friends at a party gathering in Denver. The idea is to present a picture of party unity on behalf of the all but official Republican nominee, George Bush. Carol Simpson has details.
It was a scene it would have been hard to imagine 3 months ago. The Republican rivals for the presidential nomination on hand to pay homage to George Bush, the man who had vanquished them in the primaries one by one. The occasion was the first in a series of GOP unity conferences designed to inspire the party faithful to pull out all the stops to get Bush elected president. With the exception of Pat Robertson, they were all there. And these men who had said so many bad things about the vice president just a few months ago now could not say enough good things about him.
We know when we were defeated by a good man.
And now it's the candidate's job, your job, my job, the job of every Republican to make the American people pick our candidate, George Bush.
Bush then saluted his one-time opponents, whom he now needs to campaign for him.
They're all good men, tough competitors, and they've all expressed their support and their commitment to our common goal, keeping the White House in Republican hands and getting control back of the Senate and gaining House seats.
It was as if everybody had forgotten how bitter the primary campaign had been. As if Bush had forgotten some of Dole's attacks on him.
If George Bush is the nominee, he loses in November. If you're looking for a winner in November, you got to have a winner in the primary, and the winner in the primary ought to be Bob Dole.
Today, in sharp contrast, Dole delivered the most enthusiastic speech made by anyone this weekend for the vice president.
We need to stand up for George Bush and stand up for America. And I've been asked by someone, isn't that hard to do? You fellas had a pretty tough primary. I said, that's over.
It's no secret that some of Bush's former Republican rivals are interested in the number 2 spot on his ticket. Sources high within the Bush campaign say many officials who used to call Senator Bob Dole mean-spirited have become impressed with the senator lately, and they now say he is in serious contention for vice president. Carol Simpson, ABC News, Denver.
The Democrats have their own unity problems to work out, especially the accommodation between their upcoming nominee and his runner-up. Now more than ever, it's a question of what does Jesse Jackson want and what will he get? More on that from Jackie Judd.
Michael Dukakis, the Democrats' nominee-to-be, attended a party function in Boston today, and he had to share the adulation.
That the party of Mike Dukakis is also the party of Jesse Jackson, and that the Democratic Party is also the party of civil rights.
And 1,000 miles away in Chicago, Jackson said it a different way.
So now we have rebuilt the party. The future of our party is with my voters.
Jackson's proven ability to get out his vote is why so much effort is being put into Dukakis and Jackson reaching a political accommodation.
He helped Michael Dukakis win an election. And I think that Jesse stands as a very important piece of our election strategy.
It's a strategy to draw a record black turnout in what may be a close general election. The pursuit can't begin until the Dukakis-Jackson relationship is worked out. The Dukakis campaign wants a resolution soon, before the issue spins out of control.
The difficulty for Dukakis is that his campaign in Black America is not dependent on lots of different factors. It's really dependent on one factor, and that factor is Jesse Jackson.
And how his supporters think he's been treated. The current litmus test is the vice presidency. Jackson says he's earned consideration. Dukakis agrees, but makes no promises. And most insiders believe it won't happen.
I think Governor Dukakis understands that that's going to have to be an important role in order for black people to feel that Jesse Jackson has gotten his due in this campaign.
How far to go in accommodating Jackson before going too far is the biggest problem Dukakis has faced.
He could provoke a white backlash. The worries are that he could cause Dukakis to lose certain support, particularly among conservatives and especially in the South.
A Dukakis-Jackson coalition could be temporarily threatened by differences over the Democratic platform, which emerged at hearings on Mackinac Island, Michigan. Differences over taxing and defense spending. Despite the policy differences, the two need each other. Dukakis needs the black vote. Jackson needs not to be seen as a spoiler. So it's unlikely they'll let each other down. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
He insisted he's not trying to launch a political career, but Oliver North's talk to Virginia Republicans in Roanoke today had all the earmarks of a campaign speech. North pushed patriotism and conservative values and lashed out against welfare, abortion, and liberal Democrats. North is scheduled to be the first figure in the Iran-Contra scandal to go on trial. He defended his actions today by saying, quote, "There will be no apologies from this Marine."